now. So with that apart, before I start my presentation, not too long ago, I was a student like all of you, and I've sat through many boring presentations. So there are two resolutions that I made, and I would want to front those resolutions for you before I start. The first one was I will try to make my presentations less boring or possibly more interesting. Even if I don't, I will have slide numbers on all my slides. So what that makes sure is that even if my presentation is boring, you will know how long I'm going to last. Yeah, so I will not test your patience. So today I have total of 26 slides, and out of which the title slides as well as thank you and questions slides are included. So 23 content slides. So if you think I'm boring, you know I'm only going to last 23 slides. So please bear with me till then. Hopefully, I will make the time worth it for all of you. I really appreciate the fact that all of you are attending your classes as well as attending the event as well. And hopefully this hard work will come in handy. Okay, with that said, let me just project my screen once. Yeah, okay. I wanted to speak about a particular subject which is close to my heart. And the reason I wanted to speak about it was because I think all of you are going to be the future of marketing as we go ahead. It is important that some of us who've been with this profession for some time share some amount of perspective with you, make you aware about some of the crossroads crises that we face today, and help you build perspective. What decisions you take, how you go about it, which road you choose will entirely be left up to you. But the perspective is something that we can share. So as part of that objective, I just wanted to share some perspective with you, specifically on media. Yeah, and in the context of purpose. So all of us obviously are products of experiences that we have. So these are some of the brands that I've worked upon, and hence I am a product of the experience that I've gathered from these. I've worked in food brands like Gems, Silk, Dairy Milk, Chocolates, as well as some non-food brands, or rather as they call them B2B/B2C brands like Fevicol, Fevikwik, Dr. Fixit, and a US-based stationery brand called Sargent Art. So whatever I will tell you now is a perspective that I built while working on some of these, and hence it might not be a theorist's perspective. It might not be a complete perspective also, but nevertheless, it is one coming from somebody who has spent about 15, 16 years in the industry. So here we go. One of the first things that I wanted you guys to see is the fact that all of us at various junctures in life think about what is the meaning of life. Yeah, you would have seen a lot of people talking about why are we living, what is the ultimate purpose. A very significant institution called religion tries to solve this by answering some very deep-rooted questions. I'm hoping that since most of you are at a very young age, you are still not wondering about this. If you are, then obviously some of you are more intellectual than I ever was. But most of you hopefully right now know what you want to do with your life. Only when you reach my age, you start wondering, okay, I've done some bit, but I am not sure why did I do it. And therefore, what is the purpose? But that it is a continuous quest. And the reason I'm talking about purpose is because this term is used significantly in the marketing industry these days. Yeah, you will find that we have a lot of deeply meaningful brands, or as they would like us to believe. There are a few examples that I'm just sharing in front of you. There's Lifebuoy that talks about aiming to drive and change hand washing behaviors in the times of need, making hand washing messages engaging and memorable. There is Harpic, which talks about creating a world where everyone has access to a hygienically clean toilet. There is Tacha Tea. I would urge you to read the bottom 4 lines. It says it urges the people of India to question society's apathy towards issues of national importance. Yeah, so it almost made me realize that our brands, our toilet cleaners are more meaningful and our lives are more meaningless these days. Yeah. And that is unfortunately the state of the affairs. But don't be despondent. The life is not all gray and black there. I'm not wanting us to feel bad about it. I'm just making a point around purpose. Yeah. And it is not just India. You will find this everywhere. Most of you, if you follow Unilever, what they've been doing since, for example, last 6 or 7 years, if I'm not wrong, since 2017, is that they've tried to assign purpose to more and more brands. And you will find these kind of slides with lots of consultants who will talk about the fact that there are now purpose-driven brands in almost every category that we operate. And there are incumbent brands and there are insurgent brands. Incumbent brands are brands which have held a category together, which have almost defined a category. And then the insurgent brands were coming new by using new ways of working, new rules of operating, but again coming with a specific purpose. Yeah. So you will find these dime a dozen. Yeah. And therefore, what are they trying to do? All of them are operating with a specific insight or a specific observation, which says that, and you will, the diagram on the left is by Gartner, on the right, these numbers are by Bain, and you will find all sorts of consultants justifying this, saying that not only does purpose result into better business, and I want you to focus on the rightmost two numbers, 10x and 2x. 10x is all the insurgent brands which are purpose led tend to grow 10x better. And the rightmost number 2x is all the incumbent brands that are purpose driven tend to grow 2x better. Yeah. On the left side, the diagram that you see talks about purpose also helping employees make better decisions. And this is something that I really believe in. I'm not sure whether it gives you growth in the long run or not, but for sure it helps you give clarity as to what will you do, what will you not do. Yeah. And hence, our industry has started to believe very heavily in purpose. Yeah, it's a word which is thrown around a lot, but there is some deep-rooted meaning really attached to it. Now, since humans are purposeless and brands are really, really purposeful, we should talk about the other component which should be of interest to all of you. Yeah, especially the committee which is holding this Samvaad today, which is media. Yeah. So now the brands are really have significant purpose. Where does that leave media? Do you think media has purpose? Do we think that media has been assigned significant purpose? Yeah. And honestly, if you ask me, after having dealt with media for quite some time, I think it has not been. Yeah. And therefore, it is important for all of you, students of marketing, media, PR, digital, etc., to possibly understand that, according to me, media is at a crossroads today. And I will talk about three specific points around that. And I'm not talking about news media or other kind of media which is specifically of use for marketing students like us, marketing professionals like us. First, media is continuously questioned today for its utility beyond digital. Digital is the new buzzword. Yeah, everybody wants to call themselves digital marketer, performance marketer, growth hacker. We are devising new and new names for our professions. Unfortunately, in the olden days, we never used to call ourselves TV marketer, radio marketer, outdoor marketer, etc. But somehow digital has become fancy enough for people to keep it in their designation. Second is that since the emergence of digital gives you data, and data allows you to do measurement, a lot of question is around ROI or purpose of media. ROI is return on investment. And third, increasingly, media is also being abused for sharp targeting. Yeah, sharper than possibly our ethics allow. And these are the three main questions which possibly as marketers should concern you going ahead. However, all these questions are merely concerns if you have good definitive answers to them. If you don't, then these are some things to be pondered over. What I'll try and do over the next, 15 slides and possibly the next 20-25 minutes, give you some thoughts around these three, share my viewpoints with you, and hopefully it helps you, think through a bit more, gives you a little more food for thought, and you can possibly develop your own point of view around it. Yeah, I don't have perfect answers, but I can tell you what I've learned from my experience thus far. Yeah. So let's dive deeper. First is around utility beyond digital. A lot of you would have heard about the fact that media is dead, TV is dead, digital is the new uh, TV, or digital is the new media, etc., etc. And it is not completely true. It is not completely untrue also. Yeah. And therefore, we need to understand a little bit of nuances around it. Now, digital, what does digital allow you to do? All of you are young digital natives. Some of us of my age and beyond would be digital ignoramus also, who will be dinosaurs on digital as compared to all of you there. So therefore, all of you have grown on significant exposure to digital media, and hence it becomes the second nature to all of us. Our digital lives are much more colorful, vibrant, interesting, as well as enriching as compared to our real lives. And that's the reality of today. There is no problem with that. And hence, digital as a medium presents excellent consumer affinity. What it also presents is that there is significant amount of personalized targeting options that are available there. A lot of people might declare their true nature, or what they're trying to do, what they're wanting to do on digital, as opposed to what they will do in real life. And hence my ability to know a person and as a marketer target them with very specific ads is better on digital than on real world these days. Yeah, because digital is becoming more and more intimate, and all of us are very comfortable sharing our personal information, intimate information on digital. Yeah. So therefore, that is where the lure of digital, the affinity of digital lies, and therefore it is great. Yeah, every brand worth their salt should certainly have it in their arsenal. Yeah, but there are some questions to ponder over, and I think I will possibly also give you a couple of examples why these questions are still relevant. Digital allows you to get to consumers who are early adopters, who are digital natives. But when you look at startups today, the startups go through two kind of stages. There is the 100 crore ARR, annual run rate, as they say, versus beyond. So beyond life in these two phases is very different. You will find that brands that are about to get to 1 crore, 10 crore, 100 crore ARR are the ones who are still able to advertise on digital, build their brands on digital, and get adoption from early adopters. But once they start becoming bigger, they start realizing that there are limitations to digital, what digital can provide. One of the prime examples for all of you will be the fact that Google Maps, Facebook, Uber, all of these are names of brands which are digital native brands, yet they advertise in offline mediums like TV, like bus stops, like bus backs, like print, etc., etc. There is a reason why Google, which almost owns entire digital universe, still finds it useful to advertise outside of its own ecosystem. Yeah, and that tells you that there still, at least in India, there is large swath of audiences which lies beyond digital, and hence it is important that we understand them and we understand the media beyond it. Number two is that any medium which becomes popular is also abused significantly, and therefore the ratio of fake news to real news, fake articles to real articles, sponsored articles to real articles, etc., propaganda to real news is significantly higher on digital than on other mediums. And hence, even today, if you read something on digital, you are not sure whether it is completely legitimate or not. Yeah, and there are now businesses which are, thriving on allowing you to check whether a particular news is legitimate or not. Yeah. So therefore, if you really want to get legitimacy, you will possibly also need to look beyond digital. The third is there are specific events which require you to spread your message across a wider audience very, very quickly. Yeah. Whenever you are doing a new launch, whenever you have a new unveil, you want the entire India to know immediately at one instant. And that is where there are other options beyond digital which become available to you, which you will use to serve this purpose. Yeah. And these are some of the starting questions. There are many more questions which will possibly push you to look beyond digital. So therefore, I thought rather than getting too technical about it, let me give you a few examples of what some elements of traditional media serve to a marketer or a digital planner or a media planner vis-a-vis digital. Yeah. So let's look at TV. What does TV provide? Yeah. When you advertise on TV, TV provides large reach. In India, even today, it has a significant larger reach and frequency, specifically amongst audiences which are slightly lesser conversant on digital, like kids and women. Yeah. Or people in lower SEC or NCCS, as we call them. Then it also provides legitimacy amongst intermediaries and consumers. When I say intermediaries, I mean your channel. If a brand is advertising on TV, you will find that a lot of the shopkeepers that you go to, if you ask them, is this brand good? Their one line answer, more often than not, is this: yes, I've seen this brand on TV, it is good. Yeah. To them, even today, anybody who has the money, gumption, as well as the plan to advertise on TV gains legitimacy. Yeah. And then, as I was saying, it gives you methods to build impactful reach. Yeah. A property like an IPL or a Kapil Sharma show or things like that are something that which originated with TV and have now been carried forward to digital as well. Yeah. So in that sense, TV as well as OTT content tends to join hands and gives you various methods to build impactful reach. Yeah. Those are certain reasons for which people still consider TV and people still advertise. Similarly, print. Now, when I say print, I mean newspapers and magazines, some things that possibly a lot of you might not read in physical form, but are still one of the most read elements today, much beyond internet articles, especially in hinterland of India. Yeah. What does print provide? Print provides you customized reach like digital. It allows you to choose editions, choose cities, choose geographies that you really want to go to. It gives you significant legitimacy. Now, anything that gets printed in print can't be taken off. Anything that gets put up on internet can be taken off and it can be erased. Print is the final word. And therefore, because it is the final word, there is a lot of care that is put to try and verify, to try and build perspective around it. And hence it still carries a bit of legitimacy. And most importantly, a print is a long format advertising. It allows you to engage and educate. Yeah. A lot of the internet or web-based exposure is very short attention span exposure. What you get via print is possibly a long format engagement. People tend to engage with people tend to read. And therefore, if they find the caption or the advertising or the article very interesting, they will tend to invest a few more minutes behind it. Yeah. And hence your content stands a chance. Again, because it has higher legitimacy, the amount of time spent on reading there, long format reading, is more than what people do in digital. However, the total amount of digital time will be higher, but that is a lot of it is spent scrolling rather than reading and engaging. Similarly, radio, possibly an element which a lot of you might not have ever heard, is something which, which allows you to build localized reach at a very city or a sub-city level. Yeah. And it is a significant frequency medium. There is no other medium available that can give you frequency at the cost of radio. You can, repeat the message so many times that a person like you and me would possibly hear a message 10 times in the same amount of money that you would otherwise spend for possibly doing the messaging one time on TV or print. Yeah. Cinema, another thing which possibly during COVID took a backseat, but is now becoming a raging trend again. It provides significant incremental reach over TV, digital, print, radio, etc., especially in states like AP, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu, where usually cinema is next to religion. Yeah, and superstars are really, really big there. Yeah, both these places have a raging film industry also. It also gives you access to fanaticism. A lot of the people are big fans of the stars of the movie, or they are, queuing outside to watch the first day, first show, etc. So that is the access that you get. And hence, what you get is you get an opportunity to create impact amongst them, which you otherwise wouldn't get amongst an audience which is casually scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. So that is what cinema provides to you. Now, all of these, I don't want you guys to remember these, all of them. I want all of you guys to just uh, remember this, that each medium has some amount of utility, and hence, the next time you are charged with making media choices, you should think about the fact that there are lots of mediums available. Let us try and explore which one fits my objective. And therefore, I have a simple, uh, you know, uh, thought provider to you. Look at consumer and her preferences. Where is your consumer likely to be? Which medium is consumed very well by the consumer? Also, look at your brand objectives. Are you looking for a new launch and therefore you want to announce it very fast? Are you looking to simply get your consumers to remember your brand one more time? Are you trying to make them understand or educate? Are you providing some kind of new facts? All of that, and combined with consumer handler preferences, will help you decide what kind of media do you want to go behind. And hence, as I said earlier, while media is at crossroad and media beyond digital is always questioned, I want all of you, students of marketing, to understand that each part of media has a role, and therefore each part should be used with a very specific objective in mind. Let's go to the second one, which is questioned for its ROI and purpose. For all of you who are not able to see the slide number, I am on slide number 15. So we have only 8 more slides to bear with me. Good news. Yeah. So question for its ROI and purpose. Yeah. That's the second one which usually comes through. Again, I will not bore you with significant technical details around ROI. But some point of view that I've developed over a period of time is that while ultimate ROI for any advertising or any purpose of any marketing is to create sales, I would want you guys to, for a minute, to think about pre-sales ROI. Before even the sales has happened, how do you think about ROI? Yeah, because the sales would not happen immediately for a lot of brands. Yeah. So for pre-sales ROI, I want you to think about this concept called path to purchase. Yeah. Each brand has a path to purchase, which means why would a consumer, or how would a consumer go about buying the brand? What will lead the consumer to buy the brand? And I want you to register three words for me: salience, imagery, behavior. What is salience? Salience is top of mind awareness for the creative and the brand. When I say creative, it is advertising or any kind of, anything that you put out, any creative form of brand expression that you put out. So it is top of mind awareness. How aware are you about that particular brand? For example, Elon Musk today must be highly salient. Yeah, if I ask a lot of you who Steve Wozniak was, his salience might not be very high. Yeah, Bill Gates possibly will be very highly salient. Yeah, so there are products, there are brands, there are people who are highly salient. So that is what salience does. Well, how do you achieve it? You achieve it via creating clutter breaking creatives, and you have clear brand registration. So what does Elon Musk do? Elon Musk keeps publishing some quirky tweets, keeps doing some antics and makes sure that his brand persona is kept alive, and hence he does not need to spend too much on marketing Tesla, and therefore Tesla remains salient, Elon Musk remains salient despite what we call as obvious advertising, lack of obvious advertising. So this is called salience. This is the first thing that you saw on the top. Second thing is imagery. As the name suggests, it talks about what is the ownable imagery in consumer's mind. Yeah, all of you think something about a particular brand. Most of the successful brands will make sure that everybody sitting in that room, to your left and to your right, everybody thinks the same thing about the brand. That is where successful brands are able to create the right kind of imagery by talking to you consistently over a period of time. How do you achieve it? You achieve it by creating clear and differentiated proposition. Yeah. For example, when I ask you about, say, again, Elon Musk, everybody will have possibly consistent imagery that he is maverick and he is a successful businessman. Yeah, that's largely the word. Successful is debated, but still, maverick is something that everybody would understand. So therefore, there is consistency of imagery that is created in all of your heads. And that is imagery. That was the second one that you saw on the left of your screen. Third one is behavior. Very simply, what is the action I want consumers to take after I have done some marketing to them? Yeah. If you guys get exposed to any web advertising, it talks about click now, act now, download now. All of that is they are pushing you for behavior. Yeah. And usually the behavior is sparked in a manner such that it helps the brand. It is achieved by building or triggering a clear call to action. Yeah. So this is where we were. Salience, imagery, behavior. Salience is top of the mind awareness. Imagery is what do I want you to think about my brand. A behavior is what do I want you to do. Now, finally, sales comes out of behavior. That a consumer should do something which benefits my brand. But the path to purchase sometimes is via salience, where I will just make you remember the name of my brand and you will go and buy it. Sometimes it comes via imagery, where I will create some kind of image in your head that you will, next time you go to the market, you will purchase it. Yeah. And both could be different. Let me give you an example. All of you remember this brand called Fog? Those of you do, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, excellent. Lots of thumbs there. So Fog, beyond a period of time, towards the latter half of their existence, they started advertising with a campaign called Kya Chal Raha Hai, Fog Chal Raha Hai. Now that does not tell you anything about Fog. There is nothing about Fog there. It does not tell you why is it good, why should you be using it, etc. It just says Fog is popular. So that is creating salience. Kya chal raha hai, fog chal raha hai. And they thought that it was sufficient to give people the reason to go ahead and buy it. So this is where salience directly leads to behavior. They don't need anything else. Yeah. Second side, imagery. Now, all of you would have heard of brands like Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Coke, etc. What they do is that they try to create an imagery. So a Pepsi or a Pepsi My Can would have you believe that this is the best drink or best thirst quencher for any youngster like you. And not only would they have you believe this, they will also make sure that you hold your can like this. Yeah, that is called imagery. Yeah, so the next time you go to a shop, you will possibly think twice before buying Coke, unless you're a really Coke fan or you really like the taste of it. You would possibly think that from an imagery point of view, Pepsi is better for me. Yeah. So that is the kind of imagery they want to create in your head and in the head of your consumers. So therefore, if you understand what is the path to purchase that your brand is pursuing, you should be able to create pre-sales ROI or pre-sales measurement. For example, in this case, if the Fog brand manager wanted to measure something, yeah, what would he have done? He would have said, let me measure whether the salience has gone up before and after the campaign. So he would measure salience before, he would measure salience after. And if the salience has gone up, he knows that the product is going to sell. So that is called the pre-sales ROI. Similarly, a Pepsi brand manager would have thought that let me measure the imagery. Let me measure whether how many youngsters think that this is the best drink for them. And she would have therefore done a pre advertising measurement and a post advertising measurement to see whether the imagery scores have gone up or not. If they have gone up, she has the belief that it will create some amount of behavior. So therefore, even before the sales has happened, the brand manager or the marketing manager should have a clarity of path to purchase. And then the elements of those path to purchase can be measured. And hence, the challenge to justify the ROI of your media lies on all your shoulders. And you will be able to do it once you understand the basics of your brand and you understand what is the path to purchase that your brand is pursuing. Yeah. So therefore, how can we measure pre-sales ROI? We can measure pre-sales ROI by measuring the improvement in targeted path of purchase elements before and after using media. Yeah. So therefore, if your salience goes up by 10%, you know that there is a 10% result that you have got. If your salience goes up by 20%, you know what is the result that you have got. And finally, that translates into sales. Similarly, if you're a Pepsi brand manager, you know you've got a 10% incremental or imagery, and hence that is the kind of ROI that you've got. So measuring all of that honestly is a marketer's responsibility. And my job is to make sure that I make all your young and impressionable minds aware that there is more to marketing than just, running some input, praying to God and praying for output, which is sales. Yeah. Even on advertising, when you do digital advertising, a lot of it, while people think that it results into sales directly, and you want to measure what is called as ACOS, advertising cost to sales, my advice to all of you will be that all that advertising also that you do not only create sales for today, it should give you benefit for sales of tomorrow also. And hence it has to be done in a strategic manner such that it follows the path to purchase. The principles remain the same. The second small thing that I want to leave with all of you is how to measure your sales ROI. A small point. Most of you haven't worked in the field. When you go, you will start receiving numbers, you will start seeing numbers, etc. What I can tell you is every business has some kind of seasonality associated to it. What do I mean by seasonality? For example, in India, a lot of white goods, a lot of real estate gets purchased or transacted near festival months. So Diwali will be very, very happy, very, very big for all of them. Yeah, even jewelry, for example, it peaks around Akshaya Tritiya or Dhanteras and Diwali. So therefore, we have seasons for a lot of things, and therefore you will realize that there is the seasonality automatically takes your sales up. Now, a lot of the brands tend to advertise just before their season, and then they struggle to justify whether the advertising has created the uplift or it is the season that has created the uplift. And hence, I wanted to introduce you to a term called moving average. And just remember this, that whenever you are trying to analyze any kind of sales led parameter, I would want you guys to think about this term called moving average. Ideally, you should be using a 12-month moving average, which means today we are sitting in, for example, February. So if you want to see what is the 12-month moving average, you would take sales from last year February to this year Jan and add it up and divide by 12. Then next month, which is in March, your moving average will be sales from last year March to this year Feb divided by 12. And that is how for every month you keep taking moving average. And if your brand is on a positive trajectory in moving average, which means that your advertising or whatever you are doing on the ground is creating sustainable impact on your brand. Yeah. If your moving average goes up and it goes down, and goes down means that not only has your month gone down, it has gone down so badly that it has taken the 12-month average down, which means that whatever you have done earlier to take it up is not strategic enough, has not resulted into good advantage. And hence don't get carried away by 1 month, 2 month or 3 month of sale up and down. My advice to all of you students is to look at this measure called moving average. And that is something which takes seasonality completely out of the question, because it evens out 12 months sale. Yeah, every bracket of 12 months will have at least one season. So therefore it makes sure that you're not getting misled by seasonality. If all of you, again, when you become marketeers, you're aware of these small nicks here and there, you will not get misguided and you will hopefully make better decisions. So therefore we have spoken about utility beyond digital, where we spoke about roles of different mediums. We also spoke about ROI and purpose, yeah, for the media, and therefore you are also able to appreciate that media has ROI measurement before sales. And when you want to appreciate sales, when you want to understand how media has done on sales, always look at 12-month MAT, moving average trend. Yeah. Last aspect, and a small one at that. Now I am on slide number 21. So you have only 2 more slides to go. Yeah. And then you can get rid of me. So last 2 slides, abused for sharp targeting, is that there is this now ethical debate around how much intrusion is too much. Yeah, this I found this graphic on the internet, and it talks about a survey done in US where 48% of Americans think their phone is listening to them, and 48% of Americans reported that they've gotten an ad for something they've talked about but never researched online. And all of you would have discovered this. Yeah, you chat on WhatsApp with somebody, you will immediately get a Facebook prompt that this person can be a friend for you. Yeah, not only is it happening across platforms, and the scarier part is a lot of the apps that you use on your phone are listening to you as you speak. And when you utter certain terms, those apps are able to send those signals to marketers, and the marketers are able to utilize them to target you. Now, this is not a fictional story that I'm telling you. As a marketer, I have come across such plans. I have worked on such plans. Yeah. So the story is true. Now, because the story is true, it brings to the fore that whether it is use of media or abuse of media. Yeah. And hence, as marketing students, I want you guys to build your own opinion around it. But what I can tell you is this: technology does not have morals if marketers don't have them. Yeah. So access to a technology does not mean that whatever is accessible is moral or ethical. It is you guys who will determine what is moral and what is ethical. If you use something significantly and there is widespread adoption, technology would think that each one of you thinks that it is moral. If all of you collectively shun something, technology would think that there is something wrong about it. So don't be blindly guided by technology. Please decide what is right and what is wrong for you. For example, I have taken a stance that I will not use audio targeting at all. Those options are available, but on my watch, in my brands, we will never use audio-based targeting. We will not process data which is used, which gets generated when any consumer talks near their phone and the apps listen and process it. Why? Because my stance is clear. I don't think as a consumer, I have given anybody explicit okay to use my verbal data. Yeah. On some cases, for example, Facebook, Twitter, etc., whatever I put there, I know that I'm putting stuff out in public. Yeah. And as the saying goes, if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. Yeah. So we have to all remember that. But in this case, I frankly think, and it is my personal stance, a lot of you might disagree with me. My stance is very clear that wherever I think as a consumer, I have not given an obvious explicit okay for it, I will not expect other consumers to have given it, and therefore I will not use that data. But as marketers, again, I would want you guys to use that moral compass all the time, decide what is right or what is wrong, and then take actions accordingly. My job is to make sure that I keep making people like you, young and impressionable minds, aware about this and tell you that you have a choice. Yeah, all of you are the future of this industry. You will make those choices going ahead. So therefore, uh, media is at crossroads. It is questioned for its utility beyond digital. My advice is you should understand your consumer and your brand and make your choices. Yeah. And as long as you do that in a logical, scientific manner, nothing can be questioned. Question for its ROI and purpose. So my advice to all of you will be construct and measure path to purchase. And when it comes to sales, minor point, use moving average uh, trend rather than monthly or quarterly sales. And media is also abused for sharp targeting. My advice to all of you will be use your moral compass, decide what is right, what is not right. If it doesn't seem right to you, it is quite likely that it wouldn't seem right to a large swath of audience out there. So evaluate yourself as a consumer and then act according to it. Yeah. And that, my friends, brings me to the end of my presentation. And hopefully I've not tested your patience sufficiently enough. And now I'm open to questions, comments, reflections. Well, I can see a lot of claps. I can't hear them. So somebody would have to enable me to hear some of the questions if there are any. I'm still unable to hear, but in the interest of time, if somebody can just type out the question, whatever is being asked, I'll try and answer it till the time we sort out technology. I can read your lips. You're saying, am I audible now? But no, you're not. I can only make it out from what you're saying. I can't hear you. So this is the time I think all of us wish that we knew sign language.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, we are just having some technical issue. We are reconnecting it.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to?
No, sir. We are rectifying the issue, sir.
Okay.
इसलिए मैं स्पीड इसमें भी ऊपर माइक्रोफोन नहीं अभी नहीं इसमें ऑडियो
Yes, I can hear you.
एक सेकंड
यहाँ से हमारी हमारा हाँ हाँ हाँ
Yes. See if you guys can start typing. I can at least start answering some of the questions by the time we can figure out.
हाँ बता
थैंक यू सर थैंक यू सर इधर व्हाट्सएप नहीं है
सर
हाँ इन टुडेज एरा हम कर सकता हूँ तेरा व्हाट्सएप है
today's era
of growing political polarization and activism
send to all करूँ
इधर व्हाट्सएप है
हाँ हाँ भेजना फिर व्हाट्सएप पे भेज दिया तूने मुझे
जल्दी
See
भेज दिया
हाँ
Okay, that's a long one. In today's era of growing political polarization and activism, especially on Twitter and other platforms, how can a PR professional navigate sensitive issues and execute purposeful communication to the audience having opposite viewpoint? Khatarnak. This seems like a media question. Okay. Yeah. So I think some of this has been discussed a number of times, and part of the playbook that you will see any media or any PR professional playing by is that the company desists from making any kind of opinion publicly on any sensitive topic regarding politics or religion or anything around it. So that's one safe stance that all businesses take. The second one, which is a slightly more tricky one, is about the fact that almost every brand wants to take a progressive, purposeful stance. And once they do that, they run the chance of possibly infuriating or hurting somebody's sentiments, etc. Yeah, if they don't, very good. But if they do, that is where usually the brand is at crossroads. Yeah, and that is where it requires an honest reflection by the company and its leadership. Number one, do they think their execution went awry vis-a-vis what they really wanted to say? If it didn't, if it did, they're likely to apologize and take the communication back. If it didn't, then that is what tests the true mettle of the leadership team, that whether they are able to stand by their stance regardless of criticism from some section of the society. Yeah. And if it becomes a criticism which is fairly widespread, which means that it is also feedback on that stance, and hence again the company might decide to reconsider it. But I would possibly say that first side, most of the businesses tend to play safe. More importantly, you guys, for all of you who would be possibly looking at chasing media or PR careers, all of you need to understand the purpose and the values of your company very, very clearly, and therefore identify what are the boundaries within which we want to operate and what are the issues, what are the kind of things that we really want to stand for. If that is clear for you, nobody can stop you from having a purposeful communication with your audience. Yeah, all you need to do is
Steer clear of things which are not in the ambit of your expertise, and don't try to ride uh, any seasonal or any news just for the purpose of creating salience. And a lot of the brands have burned their hands in this. In looking for short term gains, they end up creating controversies which don't help them. So, therefore, that is what I would possibly advise all of you to do.
Thank you, sir. Are you audible, sir?
Yes, yes, I can hear you guys. Yes, you can speak out the question. I can
Okay,
see
sir.
the you too. I can see the question too.
Sir, but are you audible though? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Yes, yes.
So thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your patience. So we have both one the question and the questionnaire can directly ask you the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the question?
Good afternoon, sir, and thank you so much for the session. So, sir, since we're talking about return on investments, my question is that, brands need to create a legacy, and it is very important to do so. They don't have a choice, right? And with that thought in mind, if they want their residue to, sort of persist and simmer, and so that they can build lasting customer connections. For that, I feel that whatever you were talking about, expectation is very important. But problem, how do you explain the shareholder about this value? You cannot measure these quarter, right? You cannot talk about customer expectation this quarter. How do you do that considering for part of the huge organization previously already was? How do you do that?
Just because I was not able to hear completely clearly, just say yes or no when I try to repeat your question to you in a succinct manner. What you're saying is that from a share for a public listed company, there you have a responsibility to shareholders for delivery every quarter.
Right. Yes.
And therefore, while marketing looks at long-term gains and build purposeful communication, etc., how do you make sure that it talks to the shareholders and convinces them that you're going in the right direction?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So see, think of your organization or company as a going concern. Yeah. So therefore, you would have done something 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarters back, so that you are able to generate results of it this quarter. Yeah. So that is number one. So you already have something in the bank which is creating the results for this quarter. Number two, as a marketer, as a business owner, or as a business handler, you have responsibility towards strategic as well as tactical tasks of a brand. So therefore, you can't completely be oblivious of what is happening today. So for example, if your company is struggling for revenue in this quarter, you will need to do some tactical stuff to make sure that you're able to do something about it. You're able to address the issues, uh, rather than just working on some long term stuff. Because if you survive today, only will you fight, only then you will be able to fight tomorrow. Yeah. So therefore, I have seen great business leaders taking strategic as well as tactical views of their business, and therefore have a mix of actions which make sure that both sides keep running very well. You have sufficient long-term actions which keep your brands in the right frame of health, and then you have certain short-term actions which make sure that today, tomorrow, or the next month, or the this quarter also keeps chugging along very well. So there is a balancing act to be done for sure.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
First and foremost, sir, like to thank you for such an insightful session. Listening to a person of your stature and experience definitely adds a lot to our. Sure. So my question is, as an up and coming entrepreneur, if I want to enter an industry where there are already giants like, for example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, how could media and advertising help me capture market share for myself as a smaller brand?
Okay. See, media, advertising, all of those are vehicles. Yeah. What comes first is, as I said, path to purchase, your purpose. So you will find that like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, etc., have reached a stage where they want to be something to everybody. Yeah. You will find a lot of the insurgent brands wants to be everything to somebody. Yeah. So for few set of people, they will appeal to them very, really well. Yeah. And that is how they grow their brand franchise. They don't go talking to all 20 crore, 30 crore consumers who consume Pepsi every day or every year, whatever. They will talk to a certain state, certain substrata, certain small towns, certain towns below a certain population, where they will be able to create some kind of differentiation. Yeah. For example, when Paperboat would have wanted to compete in this industry of cold refreshing beverages, they did not go after saying that I am a better cola, I'm a better uh, I'm a better 7 Up or something else. They created a niche of themselves. So whenever, so they did not cut by audience, they cut by occasions. So there are occasions that they could have capitalized on, where they said that if you want to remember what you used to consume in your childhood, we will give you in a very, very hygienic way. Yeah. And therefore all their advertising, all their products had a great throwback to our childhood memories. Yeah. So therefore it is up to the insurgent brands to create a niche for themselves by choosing the right set of product, marketing imagery, as well as advertising. Yeah. So your advertising and media then becomes a simple ally for you to take your niche positioning to the right set of consumers.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you so much for the answer, sir. We'll move to the next question.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, first of all, for this insightful session. My question is related to the last part you talked about, when you mentioned that the mobile phones and companies are using our devices to listen to us, and you as a marketer can stop it, can break the barriers and stop that, and not market this. But over the days, we have seen that people are getting used to technology and companies listening to us or getting intruding our personal lives. So maybe after 5 or 10 years down the line, people will get used to the fact that you can listen to us and then market to the stuff. What do you think from an ethical perspective is right for us maybe in the future?
So I don't know. See, for example, even your values, your ethics evolve along with times. So that is also true. Uh, so maybe I might be proven wrong maybe 5 years, 10 years from now when people start accepting it. But I still think that considering who we are, I don't think it will ever be okay to listen into people's private conversations and then targeting them basis this. So that I would hazard a guess and say I don't think it will be okay to do that in 5 to 10 years also. And with that conviction in mind, I had taken this personal call. But you're right. So social norms change, people change, their adoption of technology changes. But some things I still think fall on the other side of morality, which I don't think any adoption of technology, any advancement in technology would possibly change. So this one I think lies on that side. But from a purely from a response to your question point of view, am I willing to reconsider my stance if things change in future? Of course I can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the answer, sir. Do you have time to take up a couple of more questions?
Yeah, no worries. I can. Since the students have given me their precious time for an hour, this is the least that I can do for them.
So my question has actually 2 parts. So the first one, I will talk about the media buying part. So definitely we are looking on the ethical point of view, but we don't know why buying the media. There are multiple media that we can buy. So the first dilemma that I have as a buyer, I'll approach an agency. Now, how should we? I want to know the method that how should we evaluate which agency is not using those methods. That is question number one. The other part is now I'm a part of the agency. Now I have different media that I have to rectify because the vendors are giving so many quotations, but they will not tell me the methodology that they're using. That's their USP. So how should we even rectify on that level? So two stages, sir.
I
So
think I think the answer to both of them actually lies in the fact that as a marketer, since you now have surfeit of choices, it is surely our responsibility to judge every media vehicle that we come across on efficiency, effectiveness, and ethicality. Yeah. Efficiency means that what is the lowest cost of making a message reach to the intended audience. Effectiveness is how much distortion can I avoid? Would my message be construed, understood in the same manner that I mean it? And ethicality obviously is about the fact that how is this data being gathered and what are they doing with this data? Yeah. So if I'm able to ask these pointed questions to people, I will get some kind of data, some kind of answers, etc. And that is what will hopefully help me decide this. Yeah. Even today, if you go in the market and you try and say, I want to advertise to cohorts of people who are interested in sports, for example. Yeah. You will find a lot of aggregators who will say, I have a, I have an aggregation of data of 1.1 crore individuals who are interested in sports. And if you ask them, how are you sure they are interested in sports? What is the source of this data? They will come back and tell you that these are the guys who have interacted with, for example, all sorts of cricket sites. These are the guys who have watched YouTube clips of cricket. These are the people who are doing this. And then they will mention this line item which says these are the people who discuss cricket while they are near their phone. You can decide to therefore say this line item I don't want. Take it out. I don't want, I will not pay for it. I will not use it. The rest of these are something that I'm happy to pay for. And therefore, as an agency or as a company, these are the questions you should be interested in. Yeah. And hence you will be able to make the right sort of choices.
Thank you, sir. So what I gathered from this is that I should be knowing how to ask the right set of questions where I can get the without going in their own vicinities where they can actually have those.
Yeah, 100%. And frankly, because you are the buyer, you hold the cards in your hand. So if somebody is not willing to disclose where they got the data from, honestly, then I don't think any data is so, you will be desperate for any data that you will say, okay, at whatever cost I want it. Yeah. So therefore you should be willing to walk away if you think there's something shady about this and people are not disclosing, etc. Be willing to walk away. It's fine. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. First of all, sir, really enjoyed the session. Also, one of the lines you told that if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. That line is really something. Sir, coming to my question, towards the end, where you were mentioning the bullet points, you mentioned that as marketeers, we need to upend our moral compass. So, for us, considering us will be joining, most of us will be joining in a mid-manager level position where some job description might be target-based jobs. So we might be having a set of individual under our leadership. Also, there will be marketeers or leaders above us. So in that situation, we know it's very difficult to change the culture of a company. So how do we uphold our moral compass in that situation if we are in a moral dilemma?
Ask the right questions. I think all of you, when you're young, usually this is what I tell all the young joinees to my team. I tell them that think of your stint like a curve. Yeah. On the like a X and Y axis, your X axis is your ability to notice. On the Y axis is ability to influence. Yeah. So when you're new into the role, you have very high ability to notice, but you don't have the ability to influence at all because you don't know who to talk to, what to get it done, etc. As you keep growing into the role, your curve goes like this. You become institutionalized. Your ability to notice goes significantly down, but your ability to influence goes significantly up. Yeah. So therefore, whenever you enter a new setup, you enter a new organization, if you think something does not seem right to you, notice it, write it down. Yeah. And make sure that you preserve those notes. When you're new, when you're young, it gives you all the freedom to ask all kind of stupid, seemingly stupid, innocent, as well as controversial questions. People above you, around you, will possibly be obliged to answer those questions. Yeah. So either they'll be able to convince you or you will be able to convince them. Either ways, you will find an answer for yourself. If you don't, and if you think that the question is skirting around the issue, they are not clear, they're not taking a stance, etc., then that also tells you a lot about the character of the company. Then you are free to make your choices whether you want to continue your employment there or not for the long run.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Chawla. On behalf of Team Silicon and MDI Murshidabad, we would like to express a sincere gratitude for taking time to deliver an inspiring keynote speech in this edition of Samvaad, sir. Your profound insight on today's topic of discussion will truly remarkable and will leave a lasting impact on our audience. Your expertise and knowledge, coupled with your engaging presentation, certainly added cherry to the cake. We greatly appreciate your contribution to the success of this event. Your solemn presence certainly added value to the conclave. Once again, thank you for sharing your expertise with us. We hope to have the pleasure of hosting you again in the future. As a part of the MDI legacy, we will be planting a sapling under your name, Ms. Chawla, as a token of gratitude here on the campus grounds of MDI Murshidabad. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. Looking forward to see you tomorrow for the great exciting evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Chawla, once again for taking out time for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.